He says, God bless Takeoff. Takeoff represents the aspect of the sky god Horus. That's why Pusha T says, I feel like the Lord of the Skies. That's what Takeoff represents, believe it or not. His death was significant. It represented something that was deeper than what one may understand, because everything is esoteric, everything is based in Luciferianism, especially in the upper levels, and we know that the entertainment industry is a part of the upper levels. Takeoff. I think I did a video on that as well. That whole thing was all esoteric. It was all Luciferian. Even with Quavo wearing the orange sweater. The orange representing Horus, or the number 33. Right? That's what it represented. And it's funny because, Malice was going into the whole breakup, or not going into it, but just referencing it when it comes to the Neptunes. And that's why at the end of that there, Pusha T says, so peace Saturn. And then they go into the song Ibida, where they go into all this, Luciferian, celestial, esotericism, just when it comes to certain lyrics or what have you, like Pusha T talking about the Lord of the Skies, and Pharrell talking about Takeoff. He says, Malice says that Pharrell is like Saturn, and Saturn, he was the Roman god, the Roman goat god of, time, associated with Kronos, also darkness. This is why they wear all black in the entertainment industry, because Saturn is associated with darkness, as well as ice, as well as the cold. That's why Ice Cube, he wears all black, because he's a Saturnian. The cube of Saturn. That's why Ice Cube always, he's always wearing all black. He's a heavy Saturnian. And he's someone who is associated with the CIA, allegedly. But he's associated with the CIA. Most of these rappers are associated with the CIA. They come from the CIA. Just when it comes to their inception and like how these people are groomed. Like most of these stories aren't authentic, believe it or not. These people are CIA associated, CIA affiliated, believe it or not. Right? But also going into the Roman god, the Roman goat god, Saturn. Just when it comes to the understanding, he was the father of Neptune. Saturn was the father of Neptune. So it's just crazy how Malice, he says that because they have an understanding. Just when it comes to the Roman mythology, this is all mythology, it's all pagan, but it all goes back to Cush and Nimrod. That's all that is. Neptune represents Nimrod, and Saturn represents Cush, right? And this is in association with, other regions of belief when it comes to these gods. That's just the same rendition. It's the same God. You know what I mean? Just like he says, he feels like the Lord of the Skies. When you think about the Lord of the Skies, you think about Baal or Beelzebub, the fly god. Who calls himself the fly god in the entertainment industry, if you know? Some of you may not know because you're probably not like followers of this guy, but his name is Westside Gunn. He calls himself the fly god because that's an allusion to the Lord of the Skies, Horus, or Lucifer, right? Even referenced in Isaiah 14. The Lord of the Skies is in reference to Nimrod and Cush, who built the tower. They built the tower to the heavens. And pardon me, just to go more into Saturn, it's like, when it comes to like funerals, right? We wear all black. We wear all black to these funerals because these funerals, they represent the worship of Saturn, the worship of the dead, believe it or not. That's what it represents. Because Saturn is also associated with Osiris. Osiris is also associated with Saturn. Just when it comes to Osiris's rendition as the god of the dead, the god of the underworld, they wear all black for Saturn and Nimrod because of that interchangeable element when it comes to that mythology, that understanding. That's why they wear all black. And also when it comes to the concept of fire and ice, the alchemical concept, it represents Sun and Saturn, fire, ice, Sun, Saturn. And when it comes to the term Saturnine, to be mournful or sad, it goes into the concept of the funerals, wearing all black and you're mournful and you're sad, you're Saturnine, because that's what the concept goes back to in terms of the Roman god. who was sad because of the death of his father, I believe, just when it comes to the mythology and the concepts. And also the understanding revolved around Saturn, just when it comes to these concepts associated with the days, like Saturday, and also going back to the Satyr, the half man, half goat. And this is just what they worship in the entertainment industry. Like, I understand we see here that they're not wearing all black, but for the most part, when they wear all black, especially for like public events, because that's when they really wear all black, it's for Saturn. And I know you guys see it a lot. Like, I'm sure you guys see it's like a repetitive thing, or it's like you see it as like a normal thing. Just when it comes to the entertainment industry, it's like, why are these people? They always wearing all black. They always wearing all black. It's because they're in a club. They're under the same umbrella of worship, so they all, they all have to follow it. They all wear all black for a reason. And mind you, it's not to say that they strictly wear all black, but when they wear all black, it's because they worship Saturn, and they mostly wear it. Like, you see it a lot, is what I'm saying. So we have these different concepts that's associated with the entertainment industry, and it's based off of the worship system going back to the pagan, the understanding of Mystery Babylon, Lucifer, so on and so forth. That's just what it is. Yeah, Ibida is one of my favorites as well. Very, very dope song. Gives you that old Pharrell type of sound. Like, when you hear this, you can tell Pharrell produced this. Like, Pharrell, you can hear elements on other songs that, Pharrell produced those songs. But on this one, like, this is his signature type of sound. I feel like he was going for other type of sounds on other tracks, even though you still had that Pharrell feel. But when it comes to this song, Ibida, this really gives you that Pharrell. Like, this came from Pharrell. So very, very dope. It's real bright, real colorful. Just a dope song. Now, actually, I think the last song they covered was The Birds Don't Sing. They didn't cover the full album, but, I just wanted to go through the track list just to cover certain songs that they didn't cover. We don't necessarily have to listen to the song. We just talk about the songs. But The Birds Don't Sing, that was one of the best songs on the album. Really, really, really hard listening to it, just in terms of the sentiment and how, deep it is. Really, really heavy song, but it's dope. Just in terms of the execution of it, the beat, John Legend just being John Legend on it. Clipse going into their parents and their parents' death, and how, they had these conversations with them, and how Malice found them dead, so on and so forth. It's just crazy. Malice, he went into how their parents separated after 33 years, and that number really stood out to me. We already know the number and the impact of that number esoterically, and, is always something that's reoccurring in terms of that number 33. He had an interview, and he just was talking about how their parents split. They went into this song, and he was going into detail about how their parents split after 33 years. Just was interesting. POV, dope song, dope ass beat. Tyler, the Creator, did his thing on there. The beat switch up was crazy. On that beat switch, Malice, he had his own little placement, and that's where he had that line about the Jekyll and Hyde. Really, really crazy ass line. Dope song. All Things Considered, another dope song. Really gives you that vibe that go back to the 2000s, but it's still dope within this time. Certain people, when they hear songs that they consider to be quote unquote dated, it makes it seem as if it's a bad song because it's quote unquote dated. Like, it still sounds good. You know what I mean? So I like All Things Considered. I like the outro from The Dream. MTB TTF, Mike Tyson, Blow to the Face. Come on. The best song on the album. I mean, I said Let God Sort 'Em Out is my favorite song on the album, but interchange between this and or between that and this right here, Mike Tyson, Blow to the Face. Those two songs are my favorite songs on this album. Song is just crazy. Just in terms of Pusha T and how he executes that Biggie flow when it comes to, the beat, and how you kind of hear it in the beginning, but you don't hear it. It's like a setup to the beat where you just hear that sample with the chop. Fire as hell. Like, that song is just crazy. Mike Tyson, Blow to the Face, probably the best song on the album. Right after, or right before, actually, Let God Sort 'Em Out. I would say that I would have this over Let God Sort 'Em Out. But then again, as I said, they interchange. So Ibida, dope song. Fico featuring Stove God Cooks, very, very dope song. As I said, they cover the bases, so you have to have Stove God Cooks on here because, it goes into that coke rap aesthetic, I guess. But it's just really dope just having him on the record because of his talents and what he brings. Like, he's really, really dope. You know what I mean? Like, these artists, they talk about certain things that obviously are contrary to what we stand on, but it's all entertainment. And that's what I take it for. I never internalize any of this stuff. And Glorious Bastards, one of my favorite songs as well. Some people don't like the song, I guess, because, they think it's quote unquote dated or what have you, but it's a dope song. Really gives you that feel, like that real hip hop feel, like early 2000s, late 90s type of feel. Has the horn on there. Ab Lever just did his thing. Like, he sounds real fresh. Like, one of the things about this album that I really like is how it's mastered and mixed, and like they sound real crisp. Like the Clipse, they sound real crisp and real fresh, like just real dope. So Far Ahead, dope song. They covered that. Let God Sort Them Out. They covered that, and we already understand, or at least in my opinion, like one of the best songs on the album is just executed perfectly. By the Grace of God is a really, really good song. I would say it's my least favorite, but it's really good in terms of, just within the context of the album. It represents finality. It represents this aspect of how we've been through all these things and we've seen all these things and we've been able to dodge these things by the grace of God. And Pharrell, he pretty much touches on that on the hook of the song. So it's a pretty cool record, but I wouldn't say it's my favorite. Definitely my least favorite, but it's not bad. It's not a bad record. So overall, I would give Let God Sort Them Out a 9 out of 10. It's a really, really dope record. I would just say, I feel like they could have added a little bit more features, and they could have, I guess I would say a knock against this album is the fact that it's only produced by Pharrell. Like, I would have liked Kanye to have some sort of like input on this album. I already know that Pusha T and Kanye are not seeing eye to eye, according to Pusha T, or according to the narrative. But, I would like to hear Kanye type of influence or production on this album. I mean, obviously you hear the influence, but the production, the actual input from Kanye would have been dope. Because Daytona is one of the greatest albums I ever heard. Like Pusha T Daytona, that 7-song EP album, whatever you want to call it, one of the greatest things I ever heard. So yeah, man, it's a reason why I like the Clipse. They just masterful when it comes to their lyricism, and they've been that way ever since their inception. So big ups to the Clipse, and great album.